Aaron Whitlow.
Oh, sorry. Brandon Spivey.
Welcome to the Mark Out Movie Podcast. And today we're doing episode in memory of this woman right here, Heather Brooks. Um, Heather, uh, for myself, I met her while working at the movie theater. I think I might have even met her through Brandon um, uh, at the
Yeah,
movie
I
theater.
think I did. Yeah, I think I did introduce you to her when she was with
Uh,
Andy, her
yeah,
boyfriend.
and and uh, she was just a woman that I'm trying to do one more thing here. She was a woman that was super friendly,
Mm-hmm.
super like just caring, and
Yeah.
and love and um loved movies. She loved movies, but uh she loved Star Trek. But
uh,
she was um
Star Trek was on another level for her. I never met anyone that loved Star Trek more than her. Like when you see, you remember that movie they made about Star Trek and Star Wars, the fandom, fanboys, I think it was.
yeah, yeah,
That was her for Star
yeah,
Trek. 100%. Oh, she
yeah,
hated Star Wars too. She hated the comparison,
yeah.
but
I'm a
no,
Star Wars fan.
she was a really good person, and she cared a lot about people. And she, if she liked you, you knew it, man. Which, for me personally, when I first met her, she didn't like me very much. It took me moving to Stockman, and I had to help her in layaway. That's when we kind of bonded on movies, and my sense of humor came out. And she thought I was too serious at first. I was really shy when I first started at Walmart. So, but yeah, we've been friends for 22 years. Man, it was shocking to hear it. Day
Yeah,
after my birthday, actually, she passed away. So it was, but she actually invited me to come up. She was working on her kitchen. She was fixing up her kitchen, and she was going to invite me to dinner one night. She said, once she got it fixed, because that was actually our last conversation on Facebook
yeah.
a few months ago. So, but yeah, she loved movies. I mean, talked about
You know,
movies every time we saw each other.
the last time I seen her, it was actually at I don't know if I was still working at the movie theater at the time, or I was just there watching something and ran into her and her fiance. And I told her, I said, I am starting a journey on watching all the Star Trek films and show in chronological order. And I asked her advice on that, and she turned to her fiance as well and was like, "Oh well, you can watch this one, but this one it's okay to skip, and then this is good, but don't worry about this." And I don't know what and
Yeah.
it just really like in depth, and she was like a super genuine individual. She was
Mm-hmm.
absolutely genuine, and it's always death is a hard thing to deal with. And I pray my thoughts and prayers is with her family and friends and her fiance and uh, you know everyone that knew her. You know her better than I knew her, but
Yeah.
even with that, uh, when she encountered you and like you said, if she likes you, it feels like you've known her your whole life, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. And like she was even writing. She was been writing this book like uh, at least 10 years. She let me read a chapter of it one night, and it was actually good. She was a very intelligent person. I She let me read it because she knew I wrote back in the day
hmm
because I don't do it anymore. But she wanted my advice. You know, she wanted advice, and I was like, Heather, you're more intelligent than me. You're a better writer
yeah,
than me. Um, it's good. I didn't really know what was going on because it was science fiction, but it's not my genre, clearly. But I told her it was well written, and she said she always got stuck on this one chapter, and I actually asked her about that not too long ago, if she had finished it or still working on it. She said she got stuck. She just couldn't get past this one chapter. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But she was a genuine soul. She really was.
Yeah. So in dedication to Heather, we decided Brandon told like we was gonna originally watch Low Life's movie that's on Tubi, like a horror film. Uh, but when he told me that she passed away, and then he did remind me that she was the biggest Trekkie, I was like, well, let me change my pick to a Star Trek film, and I chose the one that I thought like, well, Brandon absolutely hates Star Trek. So
I struggle with it. And that was a
um,
conversation we would have every time we would talk about. I said, man, I was like, I hate Star Trek. I just, but it would be in a loving way. Like I would compare it to Star Wars, and she used to really get upset about it, but she's, you know, you
she
just had
mellowed
to,
out.
yeah. And I was like, well, I said I do like the reboot and the second sequel they did, and then she said it's Fast and Furious. That's not Star Trek. It's like, well, I like it fast. I like it furious. But
Yeah.
she was a big Star Trek fan. I mean, she was very critical of it too. So I mean, she took it seriously. Took her fandom seriously. But she hated it to be compared to Star Wars. So
But
they're
with
nothing
that being
alike.
but with that being said, the movie that we're reviewing today is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. So let's see. I think I have. In the meantime, while I'm getting that pulled up, I'm going to go ahead and play a quick little clip, if you will, from Star Trek. Here we go.
Avoid the planet Earth at all costs. We are under the attack of an orbiting probe.
Notify all stations. Starfleet emergency. Red alert.
Earth is on the edge of destruction.
We cannot survive unless a way can be found to respond to the probe.
The key to saving the future
Spock, you're talking about the end of every life on Earth.
can be found only in the past.
We're going to attempt time travel.
Sulu, take us home.
These are the voyages of the crew of the Starship Enterprise.
Judging by the pollution content of the atmosphere, I believe we have arrived at the latter half of the 20th century.
Stardate 1986.
San Francisco. Our own world is waiting for us to save it.
They have 24 hours
Everybody remember where we parked. Break up.
to complete their mission.
You look like a cadet review.
All right. So, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. So, there's Star Trek, the motion picture, then there's Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, and then this is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Both Search for Spock and Voyage Home was directed by Leonard Nimoy. And so, the one who plays Spock.
Spock.
Yeah. And so this is possibly the part in his life where he was like really getting into like being an environmentalist, hence the whales and saving the whales, and things like that. This movie also takes place. It was filmed during the same time of the Challenger explosion. There's like a little in dedication to the Challenger explosion, which was in 1986. So I found that interesting. Let me tell you this about this movie.
Okay, go ahead.
First part of the movie, it's slow and it's hard to get through. What makes it interesting and what made me originally, because originally on Letterboxd they gave it like 3.5 stars out of 5. The reason why I did that is because once they get to 1986 and to San Francisco, it's a comedy. It's like a fish out of water movie with the crew from Starship Enterprise not knowing how to respond to being in the past and dealing with people around them. And I thought that was really, I thought that was really funny and fun and zany.
Yeah.
It was a choice that they made, and I like that little choice in a sense.
Yeah. Like I don't have much to go off on when it comes to Star Trek. I was lost when this thing starts because something has happened to Spock and I have no idea what. So
I guess you didn't watch 3 before this.
I started it like a year ago. I guess it was when I actually was trying to watch. I told her I was trying to watch them too. But I was like, I just couldn't get through it. I couldn't do it. I was like, this is not me. This is not for me. So I stopped after 30 minutes when I was watching 3. I did watch the first 2, but I don't know what happens in 3. Searching for Spock, so something apparently happened to him.
If I can remember correctly, and Heather will beat me if I was wrong. So I'm sorry, posthumously, Heather, if I'm wrong. But something happened with Spock. He loses his memory for some reason, but then he regains it, but he doesn't really quite remember everything. That's why Captain Kirk is like, "Do you remember? You used to call me Jim. Do you remember that? You know," and stuff like that. And so they're trying to relearn one another with Spock. I don't remember exactly what happened with Search for Spock. But yeah, but I know that it's considered one of the best. This came out in '84. A Search for Spock. Admiral Kirk and his bridge crew risked their careers stealing the decommissioned USS Enterprise to return to the restricted Genesis planet to recover Spock's body. Because Spock dies in Wrath of Khan, I guess.
Did he?
I guess so.
I've seen it. I just
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Maybe somebody if anybody's watching and they know this, if they know what happens, we'll accept commentary because I don't remember. It's been so long since I watched Star Trek, and I've seen this one before. But what's your thoughts on the 2 different tones of the film? It's more serious at first, and then it kind of
I like it when it gets to San Francisco, like you do. I like it better. I'll say that. I think this is my issue with Star Trek. I think it takes itself way too seriously. You know, just it doesn't typically have the fun. I hate to compare, but it doesn't typically have the fun that a Star Wars has. It's the characters are kind of stiff to me. But I will say this: I do love it when he says "Beam me up, Scotty." For the longest, I did not know where that was from. I would say it all the time. I had no idea it was a Star Trek reference.
what I was curious about you watching this is I thought for sure the 2 characters that you may fall in love with was for sure Scotty because he lays into his role as Scotty in his accent, and then also maybe even James T. Kirk when he kind of gets all Kirkish and starts speaking because he overacts. William Shatner is an overactor, but subtly overacts.
Yeah, I just don't like William Shatner. Yeah, I've never been a fan of his in anything I've seen him in. Like it's just I like what's his name from the reboot, Chris Pine. I like him better in the role, but I love Spock in both. Like I think
Leonard steals the show.
Yeah.
Leonard is the Leonard Nimoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Spock in both the reboot and the originals, but yeah, he's so much better than Captain Kirk or Admiral Kirk in this. I care more about his character than I do, Kirk.
Yeah, I I actually not so much identify more with, but I relate more to Spock in the sense of navigating my emotions. And Spock is a Vulcan. He's half Vulcan, and he's half human. And
Yeah.
so he has this duality that he's wrestling with, of like he's raised as a Vulcan, and he has to check his emotions at the door and not really get him into his feelings and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
because emotions, because Vulcans don't really don't they really, their religion essentially and the race thinks feelings and emotions are essentially primitive, and intellect is more uh, pleasing. It's better to be intellectual than to be emotional. And so, but being human, half human, he do in fact have his emotions, but he has to suppress them. So, to be fully Vulcan. And so I love the duality within Spock and how he doesn't quite know how to relate to humans and interact with humans. And he thinks logically and concrete. And that's kind of how I am with things. I think I deal with people, like that. And so, um, and sometimes things can go over my head, but yeah, but I really enjoy Spock. Spock is by far the best character out of all of the Star Trek.
The best there
The best,
is, the best there
the best.
was, the best there ever will be.
And this is Brandon. Welcome to Brandon. Um, well, yeah. So ultimately, this movie is about uh, they get a distress call about whales. I know the whales are endangered, and whales have to repopulate this planet. Like
Yeah.
do something to keep the human race civilization going on Earth, and
Uh,
so or something, and so they steal whales and they need to take them to outer space
yeah. Doesn't
so they
sound
can
far
mate.
fetched at all. I mean, it sounds legit, right?
Yeah, I wonder who was high when they came up with this concept.
Spock.
Was it written by Leonard Nimoy as well? I wonder.
I have no
Uh,
idea. I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, this came from the '80s, so it makes sense, right?
yeah, it's written by Gene Roddenberry, who's the creator of Star Trek, and then Harv Bennett. But director is Leonard Nimoy. Um,
Yeah. I mean, there's far worse plots, I would
yeah,
assume, in Star Trek.
you
Or
would think. Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say real quick. You would think that this would probably been the worst, but it's literally not the worst out of the original Star Trek films. The next one
no.
after this movie is, in fact, the worst. Like I watched it and I was just bored to tears watching it.
Star
This
Trek
one,
5.
yeah, Star Trek Five. This one was, once it gets to San Francisco, it becomes a different movie, and I was in for it.
Yeah, from what I've seen, just from what I've seen, which is only the original part 2, 30 minutes of part 3, and this one. I like this one the best of what I have seen of the original Star Trek movies,
Hmm.
even including the Patrick Stewart ones, the Next Generation movies, which I haven't seen any of those either. So, yeah, I like this one the best because it once it did get to San Francisco, they had fun. Like all the
Yeah,
characters had fun. William Shatner had fun. Catherine Hicks, I don't remember who she plays, but she's Andy's mom from Child's Play. She has fun.
yeah.
And I actually mispronounced. I called her Chucky's mom. I don't know why. I called her Chucky's mom. I was like, oh, that's Chucky's mom. It's like,
No, I started to do the same thing, but I was like, oh, it's Andy Bartley's mom.
yeah.
But yeah, she was, and I messaged you was like, Andy's mom's in this movie. I totally forgot about that. Like she's gonna, no matter what she does in her life, I don't know if she's still living or not, but no matter what she does, she's gonna always be Andy's mom. It is what it is.
only seen her in 3 things: this, Child's Play, and Turbulence. So I have never seen her in anything else. But I was thinking she was in Seventh Heaven. I'm not sure if she's the mom or not in that, but I was thinking it was her. It might not be. I haven't seen it, so
I feel like she was the mom. I think she was the mom in Seventh Heaven. I'm watching.
Maybe
Yeah, she was the mom in Seventh Heaven.
Would know her from.
She was also in Peggy Sue Got Married, which also stars Jim Carrey and Nicolas Cage. Yeah, so she was
I've
but
seen
she
that
hadn't
one.
really. Yeah,
I don't remember her in that, but
I don't remember her in it. The only ones I remember literally is Nick Cage and Jim, and then Catherine, whatever her name is. I don't know her name. I probably got it wrong. She was in the Serial Mom.
Serial Mom, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that this movie though is I think that this movie once they get to San Francisco and they park the spaceship in, and there's like little practical jokes with the spaceship and people who kind of like walking into it, or maybe something like that, maybe. But once they get to San Francisco,
kind of invisible to the people.
Yeah.
Which is funny, actually, because Catherine's like,
yeah,
where is it? But I will say this with her and William Shatner, I did like the dinner scene.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, she just thought he was so full of it, but it's like, go ahead, tell me what you are, tell me what you do, tell me where you're from, and all this. And he just tells her the truth, and he knows she's not going to believe him, but it was just funny. And then he got on the whales.
Yeah.
So
some.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just had a thought about the whales.
Go ahead.
Spock was swimming with the whales, and then he turns once he gets out of the water. She's pregnant. I said, "Of course she is. Of course. You can tell that by swimming with them.
Yeah.
Sure.
You messaged me. You was like, and the whales. I don't know what's happening. The whales are pregnant, I guess. And I was like, yep, and I laughed. But I was gonna say this. There's a scene right there, the dinner scene, where Kirk was drank. He sipped some beer, and his response to it was like, "Oh, I like this. Like I've never had this." Like he's probably had beverages, like alcoholic beverages from like different planets or whatever. But he hasn't had that type of beer, and he was like, "Oh," he's kind of like, "Oh, I like this." I love the scene where I'm horrible with the names. But Chekhov.
Chekhov, yeah.
Chekhov is like, where is wherever he says, I need nuclear weapons. And then like they're like the people just like I don't know what you're saying. Show me where to find your nuclear weapons. Because he's German.
What's his first name?
But his last name's Chekhov. I forget what his first name is.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's something. He calls him Pablo or something like that. Some name. He calls him when he's in the hospital. They're trying to resuscitate him. I also love the doctor, where he was like, he said, I'm trying to find his name. Oh, where is the guy? I'm not finding him. But also, hey, Michael Berryman's in this movie. Did you know it's Michael Berryman? You know who Michael Berryman is?
I do.
He's one of the aliens with a large head, and he's like working at the desk at the one starship. He has a big head.
Yeah, he's
big-headed alien.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I don't remember what movie I've seen him in the most, but I know he got noticed for Hills Have Eyes.
Yes,
But
yes.
that's not what I noticed. I didn't see that till like 4 or 5 years ago for the very first
Weird
time.
Science, maybe you might remember him from Weird
Yes,
Science.
Weird Science. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what I mainly know him from. Yeah,
I
thank you.
had I had met him at a con in Nashville. Uh, he was really fun to talk to. He's a diehard liberal. I feel like he was. 'Cause I think he didn't like George W. Bush at the time. But I forget. Maybe that's who it was president at the time. But yeah, he was like. But he was really cool to talk to. Just like I sat and talked to him at his booth for about, I had to be good 15, 20 minutes, man. Just and nobody else was coming to his table. We were just talking. And
Yeah,
he signed my copies of Hill Has Eyes, and something else. I forgot. But yeah, it was just like it was really cool, man, to talk to him.
you had a moment with him like I did with Tony Todd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool when you do, though. I mean,
Yeah, some you don't forget. Like
yeah,
I always remember that uh I got to sit and talk to Michael Berryman, so I kind of mark out every time I see him pop up in anything. I'm like, hey, it's Michael Berryman. It's so recognizable to me. Just like
yeah,
even in makeup, I know his outline and who how his face is because he's so unique looking. I immediately recognize him. So yeah, but yeah, he's in this film. But no, the doctor guy, I don't know his name. The one that like went to the hospital, like that was the zaniest thing when they went to the hospital
that
to
was a
get
good
checked off.
scene. That was a really good
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very funny. I love when he was explaining what was going on with him to the cops. I was like, "Do you know what that is?" Like, no.
Yeah,
What is it here? I mean, I don't, I just love how he explained it. And he was so serious. He was so urgent, so much urgency come from him, and it was a fun scene. And then he
also,
locks him in the room. He locks the
yeah,
actual doctors in the room. It's like,
and they said he melted the locks. Um, but then like there was also a scene where Scotty and I forget who Scotty was paired with, maybe the doctor. I think Scotty was paired with the doctor. Um, Aurora, I think Aurora or Aurora. She's the black lady. She just recently died, I think. But she was paired with Chekhov. And I think Sulu stayed on the ship. Or I don't know what Sulu did. He might have been down there, George Takei.
yeah,
But anyway, there's a scene where Scotty was like went to that one. They went to that one plant, and he got the computer, and he came up with a patent for like a device, and he said, "How much is it worth the information? What about this? This was revolution. This is gonna make you billions. Not now, but it will.
yeah.
But yeah, but no, the hospital scene was zany. There's a scene on the train on the bus, and the punk rocker is listening to music, and the punk kid, and then like and, Spock does the Vulcan grip and knocks him out, and everybody cheers. It felt like the tone of the movie was different with the
Hmm.
San Francisco stuff, and I wanted to stay more in there, more in that realm, and like forget the other stuff, like more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it's fun when when they go back to the past, and then when they get back to their universe or before they leave, it's just too serious. It's the energy is not the same at all.
Mm.
It's two different movies. So
Yeah,
like to me, it could have ended when they were still in San Francisco instead of going back and being judged to a degree. Um, but I don't know. When
well,
it was in
that's how
San
he becomes
Francisco, I had
captain.
fun with it.
I guess that's how he becomes Captain Kirk again.
Yeah,
He
I
gets
mean, it's
demoted.
yeah. He gets the, and I was like I never knew he was like an admiral at all. Like I was like, when did he become an admiral? Uh, I've always known him as Captain Kirk. It's all
Mm.
I've always heard is Captain Kirk. But but you're also talking to somebody that knows zip about the lore of Star Trek.
Yeah. I so by the end of the movie, they decide they get the whales. They try to get the whales. They get loosed in the sea, and there's a whaling ship to come in to try to kill the whales and sell, whatever they do.
Yeah.
And then they kind of take the bird of prey, which is the Cleon vessel, and like hover over the ship and scare them. They rescue the whales. There's a moment where the whales seem like they're gonna die, but they save the whales. They get them to where they need to go. They repopulate. Uh, and Andy's mom decides to stay in space and goes on a science vessel because she has no one back in her universe. And so they literally pluck someone from the timeline and bring her into a whole nother timeline,
Yeah.
which is problematic
It's
in the
very problematic.
space time continuum. I can see where that is not a good thing to do, but they did it, and there was nothing happened. I
They
guess.
disregarded everything about Back to the Future. I mean, they didn't listen. Now, did this happen to have? Did this cause any issues in the future sequels? I could not tell you. Probably not.
Probably
But
not. Probably forgot.
because I think she was only in that one Star Trek movie, so
Yeah, this is one thing I don't like about Star Trek, where the movies that I've watched so far is the movies seem to be almost episodic in some points, where
yeah.
there's like characters that you've seen in one of them, you like, and they didn't carry over. You're like, oh, like not Kristen Alley, like not Christy, maybe it was Christy Alley. I don't know if it's Christy Alley or the lady that looks like Christy Alley but with the eyes. You know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
The lady from They Live, with the eyes. That chick with the eyes, the pretty eyes that end up turning on Roddy
Oh,
Piper and them at the end.
I know who you're talking about.
She's in He-Man. She literally looks like Chrissy Alley, but has prettier eyes. That's the best way I can
You
describe her.
think she looks like Kirstie Alley?
Yes, she looks like Chrissy Alley, but with pretty eyes. Sorta.
I don't see it, but okay.
But
I know who you're talking about.
anyway,
Kirstie Alley was in a Star Trek show, right? Or was she in the movies too?
she's in a movie. I'm not sure if she's in the show. I don't recall her being in the show. No, she wasn't in the show, but she was in the movies.
Okay.
She was in the third film, maybe the
When
second
she
and
was
third.
popular, when she was in her,
This is before her
when
Cheers days.
Oh, it was before Cheers.
Yeah.
So it's before Look Who's Talking. Because that's how I know her, is from Cheers and Look Who's Talking. I don't know how in the world she became famous other than those two. So I didn't know she was actually in Star Trek. So, you learn something every day, man.
Yeah, Chrissy Alley. She's in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I don't care much. I didn't care much for her as an actress. Other than Look Who's Talking. And I didn't like her. I didn't care much for her character anyway. It was Travolta and Mikey for me.
And then they recast her. Somebody else started playing Savick in the Search for Spock. They recast the role. Maybe at that point, Christy, because Wrath of Khan was 82. And I would say that Christy might have, I don't know if she booked Cheers.
Well, it was something. She got Cheers like the last season. Shelley Duvall was leaving. Like, I think that was kind of, they were going to write her off and they were going to introduce whatever character. I don't know if it was Samantha or what it was, but
I think it's her name, Sam, or something like that.
yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
it's Ted Danson. Never mind. Ted's Sam. I don't know what I'm thinking. I have never seen Cheers all the way through, so I did like Woody in it. I like the people at the bar, man. I like those people, but but
I was trying to look. Maybe nothing. She didn't get anything that was really like, oh man, who's this actress? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
So, but anyway, let's go ahead and you ready for anything else you want to say about it?
not really. I mean, it's a fish out of water type film. We discussed the fish out of the water. They try to
Literally
save
the
the
fish out of water.
whales.
And then also another thing that I wanted to mention is at the end, after Kirk gets back, he gets the Enterprise back, and they go into warp speed, hyper overdrive. I don't know what you call it. They went fast,
Mhm.
and that it kind of ends the way that Star Trek shows would end. Like you look at Patrick Stewart, which is the Picard stuff in Next Generation. They always end with them going into space because it's a cutaway scene that they can do anywhere, with them leaving a planet, solar system, and going somewhere else. Um, but yeah, it there's a movie. I give my marks. You ready?
I'm ready for your marks.
All right. I don't know if Heather loved this. I'm curious to know what her thoughts was. But I give this. I'm gonna give it less than my letterbox. I just give it three markouts out of five. Because of the San Francisco stuff, saves it and keeps it interesting for me. But everything, it's like that's the, it's like a that's the best part of it. So that's the meat of the sandwich. But the bread is left something to be determined.
The bread is that something to be determined. Did you hear
Yeah,
that on the cat? The bread. I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. It's a fine movie. Once it gets to San Francisco, it feels like Star Trek at the beginning and the end. What I presume Star Trek to be, because I did try to watch Next Generation when it was on air, and I just could not get into it. It just, I don't know. I'm not big on science fiction, so
yeah.
um,
I guess I have a heart for some science fiction. Some like
some
like I tried to watch Alien the other night. I still haven't seen Romulus, but I was gonna watch Alien, and I gotta tell you, it's my people might hate this. I'm gonna be
they're
real.
going to, they're going to hate it. You're going to turn, you're
I
going to get, don't do
I
it,
just don't I just don't
don't
like
do it.
Alien, man. I just don't like Alien. It is not my franchise. I just can't get into it. I think they're all fairly boring, and
What? Even
and
aliens?
yeah, I think they're all fairly boring. I
Even
think that
Camerons?
yeah,
Man,
yeah. I mean, if I got
here comes the
pick
pitchforks.
between if I got to pick between Alien and Predator films, I prefer the Predator films. I think they're
Well,
more
I mean, that's
interesting.
not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah, it's fair. If
It
they
isn't,
especially
man.
when they
Okay,
start
okay,
doing
okay, okay, okay,
AVP, it's fair. The
okay.
fact that they
You
have been in the same universe.
take out the first Predator movie and tell me that's still your answer.
You know what? Uh, with that being said, honestly, I mean, I don't. I think I've grown to love a Predator 2. It's different, but it's not as good as the first Predator. No, you're right. But then the
No.
same rule applies. Take out Alien, would you still say it is, or no? You take out Aliens, would it still be as good?
The whole franchise?
Yeah, the whole franchise.
Oh,
Take out Aliens.
it's
Take out
Alien.
Aliens.
Alien's
Take out
best.
Aliens. Yeah. So
Like,
would
I
you
don't
still
like
say?
it the best. Like, I don't.
Which
Okay,
one would you like? Which one do you like better? We're gonna do this now. We're here. Aliens or the Predator, the very first Predator, or
okay.
Aliens?
You talking about creature? Which creature do I prefer?
No. The movie between Aliens,
Well,
the sequel to Aliens, and the very first Predator. Which one's
overall,
better?
overall,
Are you gonna go
I give it.
Schwarzenegger?
I give it to Alien, the franchise. Overall, I do. Okay. I feel there's okay, maybe not. Let me think about it. I love Alien. I didn't used to. I used to hate it like you did, but it has really grown on me. I love Aliens, and I absolutely loved Alien and Romulus. It's my favorite movie of the year. So that speaks volumes. When it comes to Predator, oh man, come on, I love Predator. I mean, it's Arnold.
Mhm.
It's classic. It's if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, the lines. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
ain't got
mean,
time to bleed.
I ain't got time. You got time to duck? I love it. I love that movie the best of everything in the whole both universe. Predator is my favorite movie,
Yeah,
but
and
sequels, Predator 2, I used to like. I don't like it anymore. I think it's just bad. I do like Predators. I didn't originally. I do now.
is that with the Adrian Brody?
Yeah.
Okay,
The Predator is complete trash. It's got a few funny moments, but it's complete trash. Alien versus Predator is just bad.
I think all those
AVP,
AVPs, they're all
whatever,
trash pretty much.
whatever that sequel was, it
The one
was
with
even
Sanaa Lathan,
worse.
which one was that? Which
Which
one is
now?
Sanaa Lathan? Where they were in like the Arctic?
Yeah, it was AVP.
It was terrible. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
the sequel's worse. Now, Prey it brought it back,
Prey brought it back.
but
Yeah,
I don't like it as much as the first one or
no.
Predators, really. But I thought it brought the franchise back.
I would agree with you then. I would say Alien. The Alien franchise is the stronger franchise. Yeah, I would
I
agree
feel
with you.
like
Yeah.
you got three really strong Alien films compared to one epic Predator
Would
movie.
would would you consider the Prometheus stuff?
I consider
Like,
it, but it's not great in
yeah.
my opinion. It's. I used to love that movie, but when I rewatched it, I couldn't stand it.
Hmm.
I absolutely couldn't. Covenant's okay, I think this last movie made me want to see David's story finished. I ain't gonna say nothing. It's just they did a nice job with the whole Alien franchise.
Hmm.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I will watch it. But yeah. So that was your marks, by the way, for
Three, yeah,
uh
I thought it was a nice fish out of the water '80s story for a Star Trek movie. I mean, personally, I would have rather them be saving sharks, but save the whales.
it'd be pretty interesting if it was sharks. Um well, what we got next week is your pick.
Okay, if nothing, if everything goes according to plan, which it hasn't the past couple weeks, I think I'm gonna go back to Surf Ninjas. Atrociously bad films. That's what I originally had picked 2 weeks ago. But we'll see. That's the plan.
That's the plan. Well, Brandon, what do we want the people to do?
If you like this episode and you want to see more, click that like, click that subscribe, comment, share the Mark Out Movie Podcast.
Yep. And before we leave, once again, thoughts and prayers is with the family of Heather Kristen Brooks. She will be missed. She was really a lovable person, and we just want to honor her and her memory, and just really wanted to kind of let her family know that people outside of her family absolutely loved her as well. So, that she had that big of a heart that enough of us, us folks out there, that she encountered, and so yeah.
Yeah, she was a special person. She had a special heart. She really did. But I like, like she was just a big movie person, man, and TV show. I mean, she had all these apps like you got, man. I mean,
Mhm.
she was
Yeah,
trying to
she
get me
put me
on.
on to some things. Yeah.
I was like, that's too much for me. I was like, you watch way too much, and this is coming from me. I watch a movie every night, and I watch a couple TV shows. But I mean, she was watching everything, and I don't think I ever met anyone that loved TV and movies like her. Like she was dedicated to it, man. I'm glad I met her 22 years ago. I'm like, I know we didn't start off the best, but I'm glad that we finally got to work together and got to know each other, and just had a good time back at the old Walmart. And she would be missed. It won't be the same going to electronics, because she would always call me over there and talk to me for like an hour every time she see me. So it won't be the same going
So
to Walmart.
let me share with you one of the last conversations I had with her. All right, let me see. Um, uh, so no, I was talking about the Star Trek stuff. I said
Yeah.
I was on the road until I hit the Next Generation, and I have to watch up until here. And then she said, and I said I'm on season 4, episode 24. She said, so are those the ones you have watched? I said I've watched everything up to TNG season 4, episode 24. Season 4, 24. And she said that looks like a decent list for watching, with the exception. And then I said, with the exception of Undiscovered Country. She said, and then she said, I went super OCD on my Marvel. However, I have folders with placements of movies that came out between episodes and everything. And I said, never seen that one. And I said, I almost did that with Marvel. I gave up on Agents of Shield. But I watched the MCU films and Disney Plus shows in chronological order. Says that's my MCU stuff. With Star Trek, that would be a little bit more tricky, because the way that the series is aired, you would go back and forth with an episode on TNG and DS9, and after TNG ended, back and forth on episodes of DS9 and Voyager. And I said, yeah, that's my issue. I want to finish. I want to finish, but I also want to dive back into Doctor Who. I restarted that with the relaunch show back in the day. She said, I've never been able to get into Doctor Who. And I said, it's an acquired taste. And then like a few days later, she said, happy birthday. And I said, thank you very much. And that's the last messenger conversation I had with Heather. And just that's just who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you see her and you see her out there, man, she really made you feel like a friend. Like, oh, how you doing? And so I will miss her. I feel bad for her family,
Yeah.
uh, and her friends. We are friends, and so it's never easy.
No, for me, it's just a shock. I just can't believe it. But yeah, I mean, for the people that were really, really close to her, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like. I have a friend right now. He was pretty close to her. He says he's doing okay, but I don't know. But yeah, I know it's hard on our mom because they lost her. She lost her dad not too long ago, so now I'm losing her daughter. It's just, I don't know. It's just gonna be really hard. So
We'll keep them in prayer, and and that's just what we can do. Yep. All right. Well, Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey.
thank you for marking out with us. I know that we probably brought you all down. If you want to feel good, tune in next week. We're gonna watch Surf Ninjas. Maybe that make you feel better, or maybe it make you feel worse, because it's atrociously bad. So thank you for marking out with us.